Hey guys, it's Lucas here from Sports Tips by Jellyman. Another one of our NBA Nightly Insights videos, this time with a bit of a twist. We're nearly about 2 weeks in on the NBA, so we thought we'd touch on the most consistent players across the first sort of 6 to 8 games now most teams have played. So we'll cover a bit of points, rebounds and assists, and a few sort of technical things we've found with a few of the new rules. And a lot of the players adjusting to those rules within the first couple of weeks. Also touching a couple of teams that have surprised us or haven't surprised us on the other end of things. So I'll kick off, bear with me regards to the points, rebounds and assists, because there's quite a few different names, different point tallies, everything like that. Kick off in Sacramento, Harrison Barnes, 15 plus points in all 6 games this season. He's been an early season surprise packet, had a child sort of before the season, and as you know, with some people that have a child before the season or around about the time throughout the season, for some reason their points average go up. So that's for him, for Barnes. Bam, 16 plus points in all 5 games he's played. Christian Wood, 16 plus points in all 6 games he's played this season. So obviously with the Rockets, they don't have much scoring, so Christian Wood's taken a bit of that. Carmelo Anthony in LA has been a bit of a surprise packet at home. The LA crowd loves him. He's had 16 and then 20 plus points across his last 4 games. So last 3 games have been 20 plus points and then 16 points in his first home game. So look for him at home. A lot of the markets that come out when we are putting out our tips, he's actually not in there. So if you jump on about 10 to 20 minutes before the game, he's most likely to be in there. So there's a little bit of insight there. Clarkson, 15 plus points in all 6 games this season. Ingram, 20 plus points in all 5 games this season. Jonas Valanciunas in New Orleans, without Zion at the moment, he's having to do a lot more scoring than he usually would. 16 plus points in his last 6 games this season. And then Ja Morant, we'll sort of see what he can do. 25 plus points in 5 of 7 games this season. And then last but not least for the points, DeMar DeRozan just had 37 against the Celtics in that comeback win in the 4th quarter. He's had 20 plus points in his last 6 games. Moving on to the big men or middlemen with the rebounds. So Bam, 9 plus rebounds in all 5 games he's played this season. Harrison Barnes, once again, 7 plus rebounds in all 6 games this season. Jonas Valanciunas, again, 13 plus rebounds in his last 5 games this season. Edwards out in Minnesota, 6 plus rebounds in his last 4 games this season. And then Miles Bridges in Charlotte has been scoring the ball, but not his last couple of games, been whinging about a few foul calls. He's collected 6 plus rebounds in all 8 games this season. So obviously Charlotte, I think, have played the most games in the league. They've once again been a bit of a surprise packet with the scoring, but were unable to defend the Cavs today, and not a lot of their shots were falling. Moving on to the assists. Typically, Chris Paul, 8 plus assists in all 5 games this season. A game tomorrow, which will probably get quite a few early dishes to the big fella Ayton, and also Booker, 4 plus assists in all 5 games this season. So him and Paul between each other, giving it to Ayton, out to Crowder, out to Bridges, and obviously they're making shots. Brandon Ingram in New Orleans, obviously dishing it to Jonas Valanciunas and Graham as well, and Alexander Walker. So Ingram's got a few options there, and he's doing a lot more ball carrying with Zion out as well. Russell Westbrook, of course, 8 plus assists in 5 of his last 6 games. Handling the ball a lot more when LeBron's obviously out, even when LeBron's in. He's finding LeBron on the break. And last but not least, Ja Morant, again, 6 plus assists in 6 of his 7 games this season. Now, a few teams have surprised us. The Bulls' offense looks unreal. Levine didn't get it going to the 4th quarter, and you saw what they did against Boston. Now, on the flip side, Boston, they're struggling. So obviously Smart came out today and said a bit about Tatum and Brown not passing the ball and him standing in the corner. He actually had 16 points in that game, but he had 0 rebounds and 1 assist. So he's obviously either not getting into the right spots or his teammates aren't helping him to get to the right spots there. So that's a bit of trouble in Boston out there, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. Now, one thing we want to touch on is the rule change of the foul calls. It was interesting watching the Hornets game today, or the Hornets game back today. The Hornets weren't getting the calls, but then the Cavs were getting the calls. So there was a bit of inconsistency going both ways, but the Cavs were making their shots. So it could have been a bit of that going on as well. And it's a bit of figuring out there. But a lot of those calls aren't getting made. So a lot of the guys who spend a lot of time at the free throw line aren't getting to the free throw line. So their points are down by about an average of 6 to 8 points. per game, those key players. But then you see the shooters who shoot well and hit the mid-range, like your DeMar DeRozans, like your KDs, like your Devin Bookers across the last couple of games. The guys who get to that mid-range and not actually to the hoop to draw fouls have been just as well as they were last year. So there's a few little insights across the first 2 weeks. Feel free to like, follow, and subscribe for more insights and recommendations day to day via email. Or reach out if you've got any questions on the early stages NBA season. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your night.